Welcome to the Teen Staycation YouTube series, brought to you by the Ottawa Public Library. My name is Jennifer, and I'm going to show you how to make iris folding. Now there's various patterns that you can use. The ones for this video, I used a mother cat and her kitten. There's also this one I showed, which is a silhouette of a woman. Now the link for these two patterns are in the description below, but there's lots of patterns that you can find online as well. The supplies that you'll need for the iris folding are 2 copies of your patterns. This one I used for the mother cat and her kitten, and then this one I used for the silhouette of the woman. So you'll need 2 copies of that. You'll need 1 or 2 squares of Bristol board. You can also use construction paper. This one I used black, but you can use any color at all. And the size of this is about 10.5 by 10.5. And my other paper, my second paper, if you choose that, was a little bit bigger. So it was 11 by 11. So really, you just need a size that when you put the pattern on the paper, that it will fit within that square itself. You'll need an assortment of scrapbooking paper. It's about 25 of these papers. I used brown for the mother cat and her kitten, but depending on your pattern, you can use different colors. And the size for this is about 2 inches by 6 inches. And this is just really important because when you fold the paper for the iris folding, you want to make sure that it fits within each of the segments itself, so it overlaps a little bit. For the silhouette of the woman, I used paper with text on it. So this one was from an old magazine. I've also used books that I had to get rid of, depending on their condition. So it's really up to you on the look that you want. You'll need a ruler that will help with your measurements. You can use a cutting board. So when you use an X-Acto, that's they're really important to have a cutting board underneath. If you don't have a cutting board, you can just use a bunch of cardboard that's just sort of placed as a layer, a bunch of layers together, so you're not going to ruin the surface that you're working on. You'll need scissors. You'll need a roll of masking tape, and that's for when you're taping the pieces. So you'll need a lot of that. You'll need a pencil for your tracing, and you'll need glue. I used a glue stick. You can also use white glue. I just found the white glue is a little bit messier, especially on the black paper, but it's up to you. To begin with, I cut out the pattern from one of the photocopies and placed the cutout in the middle of the Bristol board. I then traced around it with a pencil. Using an X-Acto knife, I cut out the trace shape. You can also use scissors for this step. I placed a cutting mat underneath the Bristol board to protect my work surface. The window cutout will look like an aperture from a camera.
Once the shape was cut, I removed it and placed the window cutout on top of the other photocopy of the pattern. I then taped it in place. Iris folding originated in Holland and is a paper technique that involves folding strips of patterned paper and placing them on a numerical design. The design spirals towards the center, similar to the iris of an eye or a camera. For the cat and kitten pattern, I used strips of brown scrapbooking paper, alternating between the different shades and styles. I folded the strip in half lengthwise and placed it on each section. I made sure to follow a numerical order and to line up the edge of the strip of paper with a straight line on the pattern. I also made sure that the folded side always points towards the center, or the iris. Once the folded strip was in the first section, I used tape on each side to keep it in place. I've repeated this step until I was at the last number in this pattern. As you work towards the iris, the sections will get smaller, so you may want to trim the folded strips by ripping them or cutting them. An important thing to take note is that the tape should be placed on the Bristol board and not in the window cutout. Another thing to note is that when you are doing this paper technique, you'll be working on the back side of your creation. So you may want to peek on occasion to see what the front side looks like. Once I was done taping all the folded strips in place, I framed my creation with a bigger square of black Bristol board. This step is optional. some other iris folding that I've done over the years. This one is of a turtle, and you'll notice that there's a family of green and brown that I use for the different parts of the turtle's body. This I framed in a blue and then some other different colors here just to make it pop out a little bit more. I've also made a heart. For this one, you'll notice that there's the same color of scrapbooking paper in each segment, and that spirals up into the middle, into the iris itself. You can use a lighter colored paper or darker colored, totally up to you. And this one is of a balloon, and I used a whole bunch of different colors of paper just to make it more colorful, make it stand out a little bit more.